Hello. Good morning. Welcome in. Well, you guys can't see the background of. There we go. There's Huddy this morning. Good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. It is the 26th day of June, year of our Lord 2025. Joined by absolutely nobody today. It is just me yet again. 2 more days today and tomorrow. Got another webinar today by myself over at Clover. So we'll discuss some more plays from the week, talk more about the patterns that we all love to trade. And as you can see today, the landscape is, you can't see below it, but it's a nice little babbling brook leading to an open field with some timber and then kind of like a path through the mountain. So quite a nice little scene there. Looks like a decent little hunting spot as well. Hope you guys are having a great week. It is Thursday. We had a wonderful Wine Wednesday last night. If you missed it, you can always go to our playlists on our main channel here and take a look at the Wine Wednesday tab and rewatch it. We had Triforce Trader on, Matt Owens, and Tim Grattani, and we had some great conversations as Tim has gotten back into trading over the past few months. So hopefully looking forward to hearing from him more, getting him on a few more times, maybe a webinar for you Clovers as well. But love his ideas and loved having him on. And Matt, as always, brought some great algo takes, some stats on the overall markets right now. So if you ever want to rewatch those episodes, if you miss a Wine Wednesday or Good Morning Nasdaq, you always can by going over to our main page and going through the playlists. But it is Thursday. Kind of an interesting week so far. I had some decent opportunities, not a ton of crazy runners. We had VOR last night that kind of popped into this morning. We're not going to talk about it because, well, we probably will actually hit on it because it's up over 100%. A couple gappers up over 100% right now. We'll hit those. We'll answer any questions you guys have. So as always, get going, get rowdy over there in the live chat. I don't care what you say. Just keep it respectful. Keep throw some new tickers in there if we don't talk about them on the show. And if we have time towards the end, I'll be happy to take a look at them or answer any questions you guys have. If it's too long-winded and going to be a 5 to 10 minute answer, I prefer you save those for webinar settings. But we do have Mash for Fun in here. Marion, no thanks. Fernando, Wayne, Chris, Raz, Warren, good morning. Good morning. Don't be afraid. Hit that thumbs up button right now. Let's get it out of the way. Make it nice and simple. Hit that subscribe button. We're on the mission to get to 7,000 subscribers. And go ahead and when we're done here or throughout the day or the weekend, check out some of our long form content. We post videos every single Monday. Video just came out on Monday of me going through kind of how to maximize your winners and have some bigger winners, being patient for those types of trades and how I do it with the multi-day breakout and why it works like that for me. We post those videos every week, and then we usually come out with a couple extra videos on the weekend that go over next week's trades and a recap of this week's trades. All right, cool. Trade Floor says Tim G was fire. I know you guys love him. I love him too, and I love having conversations with him. Kind of crazy. There was a time like 9 years ago when I was just an unprofitable trader at a conference watching Tim G speak, and my dad stopped him after he came out of the bathroom, called me and said, "You got to come talk to him. He's out here in the hallway," while the conference was going on. And, I picked his brain for a couple minutes, but to then have him on our show here years later, it's kind of a cool moment for me. All right. No thanks, says I didn't realize you had playlist. I checked on live before and didn't see anything good to know. Yeah, so they're unlisted because apparently they hurt the algo or something because we do them every day for, I don't know anything. Okay, that's where they are. They are in the playlist tab, but unlisted, so they're not like live videos. All right. We got a few big gappers today. If you're new around here, we talk about the biggest gappers of the day in small cap land, of which are just stocks that are up a lot from yesterday's close, usually due to news, catalyst, sympathy, some reason. We'll talk about what that reason is. Take a look at the daily chart, kind of either form a bias or say we don't know, and then move on to some questions and get out of here. So let's do that. We got about 15 to 20 minutes here. So I'll stop talking so fast since there's no back and forth between another co-host and go to our biggest gapper of the day, which is, it just got overtaken. We're going to go to the new one. CYN. Syngin? Maybe it's like a silent G, so it's kind of a double N. Sin. maybe. Software application, 1.75 million float. Looks pretty high across the board. It's a Silicon Valley venture-backed industrial autonomous vehicle technology company. We'll take a look at the daily in a minute, but I feel like we've seen this one before. They highlights next generation robotics, automation, and AI technologies at Automatica in collaboration with NVIDIA. So they're kind of throwing some big buzzwords out there. We got AI, we got robotics, we got NVIDIA, probably a mix of Tesla in there too with autonomous vehicles. All right, so some buzzwords in the news today, already up 160%. They have 4.6 months of cash left, pretty low float. Offering ability said high. Let's take a look if there's anything that this moron can figure out. All these exercise prices look high. Nothing on that ATM. All right, I don't see much there, but not a ton of cash left. Let's take a look at the daily chart. CYN, I always like to go back a little while, just kind of see the overall trend of the stock. Obviously, this one is top left to bottom right. Probably some reverse splits in there, as I don't believe that CYN, a 22 million market cap company, was ever trading at 1,800 and then found its way all the way down at the dumpsters. So probably some reverse splits in there. I'm trying to get to where I can see anything with that volume. Had a little run back at the beginning of this year from the 8s to the 40s or whatever it is, a 5x move. And since then has just been bleeding off little by little, down as low as like the 2s before being up in the $13 area right now. Volume today much bigger than it's already been on most days in the past. Not a ton of big history here besides this move back here. But it was a good strong green day. Not really a big, but 50% gap back then. Did gap up 2 days, so maybe that comes into play later. But volume already kind of surpassing more than double what we were doing back in that run. Off of that news with the keyword NVIDIA, AI, all that good stuff, really ripped immediately. 5 to the 9s continues to make higher lows. Really nice overall trend here in the pre-market. Up 160%. The higher price gappers yesterday did not do very well. I'm trying to remember them looking yesterday. We had GCTK, which was I think in the 15 to 20 area. Yeah, ended up fading all the way back down. Is even down 11% right now. Was NA one or was that like days ago? That was this week. High price one that got beat down quite hard as well. So just taking a look at CYN. Wow, big move already so far. It was just in the 12s, now it's in the 13s. Yeah, not a ton here. Kind of fresh and open because of the reverse splits. This is really widened up. It's a super low float. I believe it probably has some pretty good range. I don't think the news, I'm not going to dive too far into it, but it sounds like the type of news that could have some legs because it's got some keywords. NVIDIA, I think, is at all-time highs on the course of a couple days, a good run right around there. So that's a good company to PR, to put in your PR. And there's really not a ton of resistance overhead. Yeah, there's this from back here, but the volume is quite light, and the meat of that resistance is still like 100% higher than where we are right now. So not something that I'm too interested in shorting, not doing a ton of gap and crap stuff right now, trying to just leave day ones alone and see where they go. But wouldn't be surprised, kind of either or here. Whenever you get these low float stocks, that gap from the single digits into the teens or higher, it's kind of 50-50 on whether they continue higher, go sideways, or fade off and crap all day. Like I said, the precedent this week has kind of been that the craps have been more relevant than the runs, but we have had a couple runners emerge from the group this week. But yeah, no real bias going out of the gate for me. Don't really want to be longing stuff up around 200%. Don't really want to be shorting stocks with no clear history of failure or massive dilution or really just around 1 million float. So we'll see. This is your biggest gapper of the day, up near 15 now. We've been watching this and it's just climbing. But really hope to see that continue higher. Maybe it becomes a reversal down the line. But we'll see if that one gets any legs this morning. CYN news with, I don't want to say news with NVIDIA. Let me read what it says. In collaboration with NVIDIA. All right, that seems like a stretch, but we're going to give it to him for now. ASTI is your next biggest gapper, a solar play. Ascent Solar Technologies. 1.92 million float. 1 hour ago, they entered a collaborative agreement notice with NASA to advance development of thin film PV power beaming capabilities. All right, so two biggest gappers today both have some pretty key words in there, NVIDIA being one and then NASA. Everything sounds cool if you throw NASA in there. High across the board here when it comes to ASTI, overall risk, offering ability, overhead supply, historical, and cash need. They have 1.6 months of cash left. Looks like they can dilute a bit. They got a June 2025 S1 offering in progress, $5 million with HC Wainwright. So that's pretty fresh. Those warrant prices aren't very relevant. May of 2024, they still got a little bit on that ATM. So two floats under 2 million this AM. ASTI kind of broke down yesterday and broke support on the daily chart, and then this morning coming back to life. Right here at 8 a.m. Spike straight from the 1s to the 5s, now fading off quite a bit. So although it is up 140% right now, it was up significantly higher. What is that? Like 400% at one point. Now up just 144. We'll see if it can kind of figure itself out and reclimb before the open back into these highs, or if it just continues to fade, and it's not even on the gap list by the open. Let's go back on this daily chart and see what we see. Top left to bottom right. And probably some reverse splits in here as well. Big bad news at the end of 2023. And really hasn't done a whole lot over the past couple of years. Not really any spikes, any resistance. This volume today is bigger than anything we've seen. So kind of a similar take as far as this daily chart goes. You got a catalyst that I could see sticking or see being as fake. Up a lot, up 100 to 200%. Low floats, potential offering ability, low in cash. This one a lot lower priced versus the one we just looked at, up in the teens. But 1 to the 5s is nothing to scoff at. Doing decent volume here. 17 million on a $3 stock it's okay. It's not like the craziest thing ever, but it's pretty good. But is fading off in pre-market. Wouldn't be surprised to see this down towards 2 or lower at the open if longs are just bagged and we're just fading. But not a ton of history here. When we don't have a daily chart full of big gaps, full of lots of news cycle and big volume where I can clearly go, okay, this stock gaps down a lot. I mean, once it gaps up, it fades all day, it runs all day, it goes sideways, it continues into the next day. If I don't have a lot of that, then I just kind of left to believe in the data when it comes to stocks gapping up, over 70, 80, 90%, which is that most fail. Most will close below the open. I don't think it takes a rocket science to figure that out. We get a lot more crappers than we do runners. Although the runners are great, and when we get them, they're usually 200, 300, 400% squeezers. But just looking at these ones with really no daily chart, decent catalyst and low floats, it's kind of crapshoot which way it goes. You won't catch me trying to guess this morning, but if they're still on scan later today and up a lot, then ideally we get some plays on them going forward. But ASTI, your second biggest gapper of the day. Make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Over 100 of you watching now. 29 likes. I know we can get to 50. I know we can get to 50. All right. Next biggest gapper is VOR. So it was yesterday's runner that gapped up this morning. Really solid gap up there, entering into that 300% plus threshold. So happy about that. Let's see if there was anything going on, because when you look at the daily chart here, we kind of have 3 to 4 days of movement up from like the 23 cent area. We kind of sped up yesterday on some increased volume, and then volume's a lot lighter today, but we are a lot higher. We've kind of opened up the range there, up 100% right now. Let's see if any news kicked this off over the past few days. What is that, like 620, 623? I don't really see anything. There was news yesterday that got it to kind of start running, which was that they entered into a global license agreement with ReamGen for late-stage autoimmune asset. Then, oh wait, that was in the after hours yesterday. So this is one we were talking about. So I don't really see any news that led to this walk-up on the daily chart. But yesterday in after hours, once it already had a good day, we got some good news, and then followed up 5 minutes later by a giant dilution where they had 700 million shares of common stock at a purchase price of 25 cents. So that was interesting. So then the stock tanked. We can take a look at that right here. If we go to the daily chart here, or the intraday. So we had the PR on good news right here at like 1640. We spike up from and break the highs from the regular market hours from 54 cents to 76. Then the the dilutive news comes out. Sorry, I got something in my throat. Don't want to slurp or burp, guys. And we slam hard from 76 down to 37. Bounce back, go sideways, and then rip into the close while we were doing Wine Wednesday. Off those highs a little bit here in pre-market, but still trying to hold around $1. But is a 91% gap up there. Let's see if there's anything else. What I say, 100 mil float, 20 months of cash left, offering ability is high. Obviously, they just did a ton of dilution, so I'm sure that will come into play at some point if this is just kind of an after-hours pre-market short squeeze. But they do have a ton of those warrants. I don't know anything about dilution. They got 700 million shares available at 25 cents. Make of that what you will. But that's above my pay grade. Not a ton on this daily chart to really think about, but up from the 20-cent area to $1.50 is a really big move. We'll see if it can continue today or if it just kind of fades back to where it came from. And that after-hour squeeze is really all we got. Kind of a mix here, right? Because it's not really a day one gapper. But it is the biggest gap of this little 3 or 4 day move. So that's VOR. Congrats to any longs overnight that swung that. I know there's some people in the room that do a lot of focusing on swinging stuff overnight into the next day on day one gappers. Not my specialty at all, but mazel tov to those who got it. I love coffee. Those are your biggest gappers of the day. And we're ahead of schedule here. So I'll take a few questions and we'll get out of here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Get the number up towards 50. Mateo says, do you guys really upload videos to the paid YouTube channel? Yep. So that YouTube channel, the premium one, is all the video lessons that you get as a part of 4Leaf. And just if you're not interested in everything that we do over at Clover, which is the webinars, the archive video lessons, the watch list, the room, the trade alerts. If you just want one little piece of that, that's what that YouTube thing is. So every video that gets uploaded for all the 4Leaf and Black Clovers, you'd get that as well on the YouTube one. You just wouldn't get anything else that comes with it. Fernando says, I love the recaps of the worst and best of the week. Awesome to hear. Yeah, we need to get better at being more consistent with that. But yeah, we thought you guys liked that because the Monday videos are really all about picking a topic, whether it be some sort of psychological perspective, a tracking perspective, a pattern perspective, or a trade recap, and just going over it for 10 or 20 minutes. And that is more dialed into what's going on this week and keeping you up to date with the stuff moving in the market right now. Skater Hub says ANTI filed an S1 yesterday. I'm guessing you mean ASTI. That would make sense. Cottage says, good morning, Dom. Have you looked at NNNN for a first red day? I actually did see that on scan yesterday. And I kind of made the note to myself that due to the liquidity and the volume, I really just, we're up from 9 to the 30s, which is good. But it does go red a lot of the time. It is very, very much a choppy, illiquidity runner. So I kind of wanted to see one more blow off day, one more good volume day of similar, maybe a million plus, and then it would get better. It could work from here. It is on day like what, 5 or 6. So it is on watch. And I'm interested. Kyle would probably say liquidity is a little poor and would either want higher or just to ignore it. But could definitely see this having a $5-7 pullback, $5 or $6 pullback today. But actually figuring out how to trade it would be difficult for me because I haven't been watching it. I just saw it on scan, but I would probably guess that the spread's kind of wide with the way I saw it trading the past few days. One, two, three, Jar Max. There's not many first green days on watch. I think I would agree. Interested in Circle. It's gapping up to the 210s right now. We kind of talked about this last night on Wine Wednesday. Would be interested in one today. I kind of think that 230 to 250 area is kind of best case scenario. So the more we run pre-market, the less interested I am. Probably looking at more of like a 10 to 15% up on the day best case. Has had really clean red days. I really wanted one more. One more down to the breakout level would have been super clean. I probably would have been buying early for that. But gapping up this morning, really strong. So ideally in the next 20 minutes we pull back a bit, or else I will either miss it or have to find an entry higher. But we've had a couple, not a ton that have worked this week. I think I had RGC work this week. You can't even see it because it's just a wick on that day. Was there one more? There might have been one more that worked, but you don't usually get more than one or two to work every week. It's a numbers game. Bunch of styles. So if you can pick one, what would be your favorite for today? Favorite like trade idea? I don't really do that. I don't. If you know anything about me, I don't really grade patterns or prospects for the day. I have my priority list, which is basically anything that could trigger in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the day, and in terms of priority of reversal, first red day, first green day. But as far as because it could be my third one on the best trade of the day could be my third one on my priority list because the risk reward sets up really good. And just because I thought that I would maybe have more conviction on the first stock on my priority list, if the risk reward sucks, then I don't really care what I thought about it. It's all about how much money you can make versus how much you risk. And I won't know that until these stocks set up. Like right now, like Circle would have been my favorite going into the day for a potential bounce back, just because I thought it makes the most sense for this to have a decent $20, $30, $40 bounce. But if it sets up with $10 of risk, I don't really care if the best case is 2 or 3 to 1 or less. So I don't really have a favorite. Today is not a great day. If you guys are in Clover, you know my watch list. There's not a ton on there. It's the second half of the week, so need some fresh runners. But don't really have a favorite today because, and I don't really ever have a favorite. Most days that I trade, I have 2 or 3 stocks that are top watch going to the day, and then maybe I take 1 or 2 of them. One works out well, one fails, and one just never sets up. But I don't know what that's going to be like till the market open. I don't do a whole lot of thinking in pre-market after hours. I don't really look. I'm sitting here hanging out with you guys for most of my pre-market that I'm awake for after I shower and stuff. But so I sit down. I run out of here at 9:18, 9:20, go downstairs, turn my computer on, and then I trade the open. Mateo says, what's your usual entry for a first green day? It is either a stock that hasn't gone green in multiple days, and I'm looking at the first time it's green, so a red to green entry. Either off of consolidation, off of the previous day's lows, if it's a really nice sideways base and we're gapping up a little slightly above that, or it's a 5-minute high, so a high a day break. Once we've consolidated for 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then we break high a day, but we're still near the lows of the consolidation, then I'll buy a high day break versus low a day. Bunch of Style says you have a radio calm voice. Thanks. I appreciate it. I hate hearing myself back. I don't watch videos or any clips of myself because I feel like I don't like my voice, but I feel like that's probably normal for most people. But hey, I appreciate it. 123 Drummer Max says HCTI getting got. I'm like, I thought it was getting hot and I got excited because I'm like, oh, this one has been setting up for a breakout. But it looks like it is in the midst of a panic and bounce. Yeah, you can't expect the 2, 3, 4, 5 cent stocks to hold up very long. They're 2, 3, 4 cent stocks for a reason, unfortunately. And so it is rare when we get those cheapies to break out really nicely. 46 likes. I'd like 4 people to volunteer as tribute. Get that number up towards 50. But we're going to wrap it up there. 9:15 will give us all some time to go prepare for the open. I really appreciate you guys being here with me this week when it's just me by myself. I got another webinar. Normally I do one webinar a week, and each of us rotate in, one of us alone, 2 of us together. This week I got 2 webinars by myself. So doing a lot of talking this week between the YouTube stuff and the webinars. So, but all you 4-leaf and black clovers, we're going to have a webinar today at 11 a.m. So have some good questions ready to go. Kind of a slower week, so we'll talk about the biggest trades and how we handled them. But it's always student-led. The better the questions are, the more we can talk about that you guys are struggling, the easier it is for me to help you out. So appreciate you guys. If you ever want to join those webinars or get involved with Clover and give it a try, clovertrading.io is the place to be. If not, and you're just here for the YouTube stuff, we appreciate you as well, being here every single day, participating in the questions, liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, all that good stuff. So appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning to wrap up this Lone Wolf week. 8:45 a.m. tomorrow. All you Clovers, I'm going to head to the room right now. So have a wonderful day, everybody else, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.